Welcome to another episode of On Campus. I'm Myckena Guerrero, and today I'm joined with Dean Neil Glines. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So today is all about getting to know you. So please kind of tell us your story and how it helped lead you here to Solano.
So I did speech and debate at Diablo Valley College, and I ran into Greg Poff through competing. And it was through the competitions and traveling around the state that I realized that that was something that I wanted to do. And so I transferred on a debate scholarship to Carroll College and completed my bachelor's degree in communications, and then went to Cal State Northridge and coached debate while I was there finishing up my master's degree. And that gave me the ability to teach speech and debate, but also coaching as well. And then Gary Drubelbus used to coach here with Greg, and he went out on a sabbatical, so I was fortunate enough to come here and be a sabbatical replacement, which then got me accustomed to the culture here and have a love for the students. Then when they had a full-time position open, I applied and was fortunate enough to get a job here, and then I coached speech and debate for 14 years before becoming dean here.
Now, when you were at DVC, I heard you were an outstanding debater. So kind of tell us what your experience was like there.
I didn't know. I was in a speech class at night. I was working sheet metal during the day, and my instructor said, "You talk pretty good. We have somebody who's not going to nationals. Would you like to come?" And I was kind of worried about it at first, but then he told me it was in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and they were paying. So I was like, yeah, I'll go and check it out. And being there, I realized that it was something that I enjoyed to do, but also you learned a lot about different topics through debating other people. And so that had my drive to continue to practice and read and get up on arguments and current events. And so, each and every tournament that we went to got a little bit better and better at it. And so fostered my love for speech and debate.
Now, you're a NorCal guy,
Yep.
Grew up in Pleasant Hill, then you went on to Carroll College. Was there a huge culture shock going from your home and then going to Montana?
There was. I remember packing my truck and driving away and wondering if this was the right decision, because there's long stretches of highway where you don't pass by anybody or anything. Carroll College had approximately, at the time, I think 1,200 students on campus, and that was like its entire population. My high school had more people than that. So while on the one hand, it's small, it allowed you to foster relationships with other people that were going to school there, but also the faculty, which allowed you to get a deeper understanding of what was going on. It was nice to feel cared about, and I wanted to try to bring that same style of teaching with me when I taught here. Not as quite as small or small class sizes, but same kind of concept.
So obviously you're kind of happy to be back then to Northern California.
Most definitely. I grew up here, fell in love with it. Glad I was able to come back and find a job and have a family here.
So you've kind of been here since early 2000.
Correct.
What is it about Solano that wanted you to continue and grow here?
So when I competed as a competitor, the students that were from that program were I always had a drive and always were constantly challenging me, competing on other teams. And then that was from the student standpoint. But then when I had the opportunity to do the sabbatical replacement here for that semester, I had an opportunity to, spend a lot of time with students, because traveling on the speech and debate team, you're away with students sometimes from Thursday to Sunday, and then at state and nationals, you're gone sometimes 7, maybe 11 days with them. So you really get to know them and their stories. And the students here at Solano I really connected with, and I knew that this was going to be the place I wanted to get full-time employment, and turned out it worked out that way.
So Solano kind of has that family aspect for you.
Very much so, not only in the classroom, but also with the faculty. Like being dean of the School of Liberal Arts, there's a real family atmosphere in the school and department meetings, and there's a good working relationship between the different departments and disciplines, which allows collaboration, but also allows for people to help enrich each other's programs and in turn benefit the students as well.
Now you've taught communications.
Yes.
You were the director of speech and debate, and now you're the dean of fine arts. Do you have like a favorite memory or something from these years here?
I don't know so much about a favorite memory. I think that the work, two things stand out from perspective of what directly impacts students. The English department has really been ahead of the game, with community colleges in the state with respects to acceleration, which allows students, and in doing so, has gotten rid of a lot of the developmental curriculum that students will get stuck in and have difficulty moving forward. So through acceleration now we look at multiple measures, we take a look at people's high school GPA and help place them into, hopefully, transfer level English straight away, thus opening the doors for them much sooner to English and then other transfer level courses as well. So I think that the work of the English department I'm very proud of, but also very current, more recently, would be ASL. We're fortunate enough to pick up Gwen Gallagher, who's our new ASL instructor, and within 8 weeks of time, Gwen wrote 7 new classes for the ASL program, and now has developed a certificate for students to get a certificate in interpreting, and that's amazing that someone in such a short period of time, when they're worried about getting used to classes and the culture here, would have the drive to put together a program and get it up and off the ground. So not only would it be a CTE program where they could get the certificate, but they could also get an AA degree in it as well. So that's really amazing. It's going to provide some opportunities for students to get out into the workforce and be able to provide interpreting services to our deaf community, but also to the students on campus who are deaf as well.
Now you've seen a lot of people come and go here, so I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot. Have you had like a favorite student or someone that gave you that wow factor, or maybe even kind of touched your heart like while you were here, or what?
I think that there's been several teams that I think have that connection to me. When I first started here, my very first team that I coached has a lot of students on it that I still keep in contact with today. So like for instance, Sean O'Rourke and Sharana Polk, both were students that were on that team. They went on and transferred. Both of them actually went to Carroll College. Then Sharana went to Cal State Northridge and got her master's degree. Sharana is now running a thriving program at Orange Coast College, and Sean is coaching as well. And so I keep in contact with the two of them often, and like at Christmas time and stuff, we'll get together, and they have kids now, and so it's fun to kind of see the families get together and stuff. So it's those kind of connections, and I think that that's inherent of being in an activity where you spend so much time with students. You see them grow, and then when they leave the program, you're constantly rooting for them and wanting them to be successful as they move on. And we here at Solano have been super fortunate that many of our students, almost all of them, have transferred to four-year programs, most of which on debate scholarships, and they've gone on to better themselves through an activity that when they first got into were like, this public speaking thing's maybe not for me, and now they see the impact it's had on them in their lives.
Now being the Dean of Fine Arts, kind of explain to us your everyday role.
So, I do many things. I listen to students' concerns about instruction that's taking place in the classroom, develop budgets and advocate for the programs at like the dean level, but also at the school level. We take a look at the data surrounding different programs to see whether or not maybe some additional funding could be beneficial to them. We could take a look and see potentially if more instructors could be beneficial in a program. And then I think the most favorite part is I get the opportunity to go into the classroom setting and see instruction taking place, and it really makes, it's weird. I taught for so long and became a dean. It should have been backwards in that I got to see other people instruct to benefit my teaching and thus help students, because now I'm out of the classroom. However, I get to see all these approaches that benefit students, and I was like, that would have been great when I was teaching back then. So that's my favorite part, is I get to see what's happening and see the transformation taking place on a day-to-day basis.
And you kind of talked about how so many of the programs at Solano have just gotten so big and are doing so well, what do you kind of see for the fine arts programs, like, in the future?
In the future? So I think right now, and this right here is an example of that, like, sports broadcasting started off when they had maybe like 2 cameras and were doing games and the like, and now they have a TV studio, they've got the set that you're looking at here, and I think that the future for sports broadcasting is pretty bright to the extent that this library building is going to get renovated. They're going to build a brand new one, then they're going to take this one down. So we actually get to design a space that's beneficial for students and also have a direct impact on them being able to get jobs moving forward. So I think there's tremendous growth here. I also think that the ASL certificate that I spoke to you about earlier, I'm taking an ASL class right now with that instructor because I wanted to learn how to communicate with her. But in that class, looking at the students who are in there and their genuine desire to want to get an interpreting certificate, there's going to be tremendous growth there, I think, as well. The theater and music also have benefited from the 1200 building being renovated. So now we have a state-of-the-art theater, state-of-the-art music situation in the recording studio, which will help students there get the skills that they need to be successful when they transfer from here, whether it be on the technical side of music or theater or on the performance side as well.
So we all know that you have a life outside of Solano.
Yes.
Can you kind of talk to us about your family life, kind of what your hobbies are and what you kind of like to do for fun?
Yeah. So both my boys play baseball.
Okay.
My eldest one, now Mason, has decided to go the route of Boy Scouts, trying to achieve his Eagle Scout, and also music. My youngest, Colin, is still playing baseball.
Okay.
So I've been coaching baseball since they've been in T-ball.
Oh, so you coach right now, too?
Yes, I coach right now.
Wow, that's cool.
And then, you know, their extracurricular activities through school, there's lots of music concerts where we go and travel and watch them do marching band and the like. And then Colin's going to do some winter travel ball. So that will be good for me because I won't be coaching him, so it'll allow him to be with people who are probably more his skill level in coaching. I think I've kind of topped out at what I can help him with, so it'll be good to let him get to get the knowledge he needs. But it'll be fun to watch that and travel around in the winter and see him play as well.
So are you a big sports person?
I like sports. It's not so much. I'd like to say that I have a favorite team. But growing up, that wasn't ever something that was like important in our house, right? And so I come to love sports later, and more so, I think, for the games being good. So like this, for instance, this last World Series, like every game was like a nail biter. And like experiencing that with my boys is the thing I really cherish. The winner or the loser, I mean, that's not, my boys root for teams. But I was like, if it's a good game, it's something fun to watch. I think also fantasy sports has kind of taken away the idea of rooting for teams so much
as
it is for rooting for players. So I play that a lot, and so I'm watching different games, not for the outcome, but rather how
so you do fantasy football?
I do fantasy football.
Oh gosh, okay.
My wife has the same reaction. She would prefer that that's not an endeavor I spend my time on.
No, it's funny because it gets crazy though. Because like week by week, it's now okay. I have to set the record straight because Poff told me something. Is your uncle really Joe Montana?
So let's put the record straight.
Okay, thank you.
Erica, it's Erica's uncle.
Okay.
My wife, Erica. Her uncle is Joe Montana. So that is indeed true.
Wow. So
I'd like to say he's my uncle.
Yes.
But it's through marriage.
So have you met him?
I have met him.
Oh wow.
Yes.
What is he like?
He's everything that you would think he is.
Wow.
And it's interesting that away from sports, you have these expectations of what people are supposed to be and the like. But family's super important for him and also for my wife's dad thing. So it's nice to see those familial connections, and the sports piece doesn't play a role in the day-to-day interactions in the family and stuff.
That's really cool.
It is cool.
He seems like a really humble person, just from like what you've said.
Very humble.
Now, with all your accomplishments or everything, and like you can tell me not to ask you, you battled cancer.
Yes.
And when you were diagnosed, did you know that you were sick?
No. It was funny. I was out with Erica, and we were out at dinner, and I turned my head to talk to somebody else we were out with, and she saw that there was a lump or raised spot there. And so we went into the doctor and was like, maybe I have like some type of infection, something like that. And then within like a 2-week period of time, they ended up doing surgery. It ended up being thyroid cancer. So they ended up taking out my thyroid, and there were 2 tumors in there. One was like 3¼ inches, and the other one was 2½ inches, and they were surrounding my carotid artery. So it was good that we kind of found it coincidentally, because that was kind of restricting blood flow. So I guess if it had gone on longer, I probably would have had some effects by it, but at the time, it wasn't affecting like my day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. What was something that kind of helped you get through that tough time?
Well, I'd like to say it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not. It's been a 17 now. Got that in May of 2000, so it's been a 17-year journey with it. And I think that, the important pieces to help move forward is like staying positive and having a mindset that no matter how many times it knocks you down, you got to get back up and keep pushing forward. And so I try to do that both here at work. Like there's times I miss work, and I try to get back as quickly as possible to have some normalcy to what's going on. Similarly at home, like the times that I've been off, this last summer I was off, I think 2.5 months, getting some radiation therapy. And so for the boys, it's just important to make it as normal for them as possible, so that our interactions aren't affected by what's going on with me.
What advice do you give to someone that's fighting a battle, maybe of cancer and illness, just so they can keep pursuing their dreams?
So, I think it's all mindset and your approach to it, right? There was a period of time, like 4 or 5 years in, that I took maybe a different approach, which was like, started to feel like sorry for myself and stuff like that. And, I personally believe that had an effect on my health. And so I think mindset has a lot to do with how you approach stuff. So trying to keep things as normal as you can, surrounding yourself with people who are rooting for you. And I gotta say that, I'm super fortunate working here, because a lot of people, I grew up here, right? I was young when I got a job here. And so a lot of the people in Solano I've become really close to. And this has been a good family as well to help support when, health stuff's been not so good. People have called home, sent me texts, stuff like that, to let me know that they're thinking about me and rooting for me. And so that has a lot to do with, I think, my success with it thus far.
Now, kind of going back to talking about Solano and the students, what kind of advice or what would you tell a student that wants to come here to Solano, and kind of why they should choose here instead of other community colleges? I mean, I know you went to DVC, but...
I did go to
yes.
DVC. So I think that there's a misconception out there that Solano's the place you go when you don't have other opportunities or other options. And I think that, I understand why people think that, but I really think that that's a flawed approach to education, in the sense that here at Solano, we have the benefit of a few things. Smaller class sizes, right? Also, there's been lots of research done on campus that the connection that students have with their professors, because you get an opportunity to see them more frequently here, really has a benefit on their experiences in the classroom. And so this is the place to get your groundwork done and figure out what it is that you want to do. Like I went to DVC and wanted to be a radiologist, and I ended up leaving DVC, pursuing speech and debate. And so this is the place to figure out what it is that you want to do, and maybe try something that you've thought about, because it's low stakes, right?
Yeah.
As you move further, education becomes more expensive. Maybe your folks are pushing you to get through in a more, accelerated timeline. Then this is the good place to try stuff out, because as things get more expensive and maybe you don't have a direction, then that can maybe cause some problems and add up to the debt that you incur in going to school.
Yeah. And you kind of find yourself here as well. I think like right after high school or whenever you decide. But thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you for sharing your story with us. It's always a pleasure talking to you and seeing to you.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you. This has been another episode of On Campus with Myckena Guerrero. Thank you so much for joining us here again today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
The sign off is this.
Yeah, the wave.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just like fulfills me as a person.
I've been taking classes here for years now, so I've never actually had a class that I enjoyed quite like this one.
You know, I think it teaches you a lot about, it's confidence building to me.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's great.
Nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have. And POF with this program lets you be as ambitious as you want and lets you express yourself the way a teacher should let you.
So, like I said, it's really gratifying to us to be able to help in a way where we can see immediate results. And I think the sky's the limit, really, with what we can do here.
Get the hands-on experience.
I mean, on-the-job training is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge in this industry.
Joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
College just got affordable. Up to 100% of enrollment fees can be reimbursed for first-time college students taking full-time classes. At Solano Community College, we are taking full advantage of this to further your future. With certificate and degree programs in industrial technology, aeronautics, biotechnology, and many others, Solano Community College is a staple for success. For more information, please contact the Financial Aid Office at 707-864-7000.
Well, hi everybody, I'm Greg Poff, Director of the Solano College Sports Broadcasting Program, and we're here in the TV studio at Solano Community College, and I'd like to tell you about a great opportunity this summer. Now, typically with our summer class, we're covering sports because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're opening up the class to all of you podcasters, YouTube influencers, to give you a chance to come in and create content that we can show on YouTube. You can have your own podcast. We can even put you on Channel 28 locally. Let's take a look at some of the equipment we have here in the studio. Come on. All right, we're here in the Solano College Sports Network studio control room to show you some of the equipment that you can use as a student here at Solano Community College. And the first thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the production unit system that we use. It's made by New Tech. It's the TriCaster system. This system is used by every major network. So you come to Solano Community College, you're going to learn video production on the TriCaster unit, so you'll be ready to go once you leave our program. You'll be trained on the same equipment that you would use in all of the major networks. You see the video production board here. We've got our speakers set up here. Here we've got our interface that you can use, so all kinds of equipment that you can use to be a professional in media production. Another great feature of our video production system, you'll be able to get training on the Allen and Heath audio board, where you will learn the trade secrets for both radio and TV production. Here in the video editing suite, you will have access to Adobe Premiere and the entire Creative Cloud. If you can imagine it, you can create it right here in the Solano Community College TV studio. We have merged with Fairfield Cable Access, and that gives you the opportunity to use the same TV equipment that they use to produce their shows on local TV here in Fairfield, and that gives you the chance to also show your work on local TV.
Welcome to TV 55. In this hands-on class at Solano Community College, you will learn all aspects of television production, how to use high-end cameras, lighting, and audio equipment in the field and right here in the studio. Whether you are looking at making better YouTube videos, educational or promotional segments, or finding your creative passion, enroll today. Get an art school education at the fraction of the cost. Visit us online at solano.edu.